Catus, Maximus here. Here's a little review of this Allway, kind of an interesting take on an electrician's screwdriver or electrically insulated screwdriver. This one's has stamped 2000 volts, which is pretty good considering like standard ones. I have a Milwaukee somewhere, but I don't know where it is. This is one of the Doyle's, which are rated for 1000 volts. It's certainly not quite as heavy duty, but I like the fact that it's much more compact than, say, a normal electrician's or electrically insulated screwdriver, quite a bit more compact. And secondly, that it's a bit driver, so you can have multiple bits. It holds 3. This may actually be made in USA, because the way this is written, you know, it says USA and patent number, but that kind of indicates that this may be American made. It's not perfect. Allway doesn't do perfect tools. You can see some boogers right here where they apparently vibratory friction welded the cap, and that's how they weld plastic, is they'll actually have a machine, they put this part in, and it just wiggles it very tiny amount, like ultrasonically, but under pressure, and it just creates enough friction to melt the plastic and weld it. And that's looks like what happened here, how they assembled it, but it just left some boogers. Interesting way to hold the bits. This had no bits when I found it, so I went ahead and put in like a Roberts number 2, a flathead, T25 Torx, and then of course a number 2 Phillips. Bits slide out like that, and I think that's kind of handy. They're pretty easy to access, just be able to pop out the bits. And 4 bits is, I think it's fine, because I'm a fan of the trilobular screwdriver design. Also, the way that they slide out, you have these deep indents, so when you're trying to get a lot of torque, you can really get just a excellent grip. Great purchase on the unit. And so how they really get such a high voltage rating? It's entirely plastic, glass injection molded nylon, but they do have a steel collar down here in order to reinforce the end, and it is magnetic bit holding. Another thing that they do is, this is probably the tightest or most high tolerance 6.4 millimeter or 6.35, I should say, 1/4 inch hex I've ever seen, and that's probably to help keep it from rounding out, because it is plastic inside there. But when you put in the bits, there's tight drivers, and then there are ones where the bits have almost no wobble at all. I mean, certain bits don't, you know, that have the stamping that's too deep and it raises the metal too much. Those actually won't even fit in this. So this is super duper tight, which I do appreciate. But how they get away with that? Once again, it's all plastic. So there's a little bit of metal up here, but besides that, it's just all plastic all the way through. So that's how they're giving you such a high insulation factor. Where more traditional ones are certainly stronger, but they have a metal shaft, you know, going all the way up through the screwdriver. And so that does end up harming some of their electrical rating. Now, a screwdriver like this will certainly be much stronger, especially in prying. And that's probably the worst part about this, is if you're in a situation where, say, you have the flathead in there, and you're trying to fiddle around or pry some electrical terminals, you certainly do risk cracking or even breaking off the end of this. This is definitely not as heavy duty as a traditional unit, but it certainly offers something that others don't, which is being lightweight and compact and versatile, having access to multiple screwdrivers, in this case 4 of them, because of the 4 different bits, all in one kind of small unit. And I could certainly see this actually being handy for people. So even though Allway isn't known for their great tools, they actually had something worth noting here. To tell you the truth, I think this thing is actually pretty cool, especially the careful attention to that chuck. I really like how tight it is. And the other advantage is now you get a built-in magnet, so when you're working with fasteners, they'll stick to the end of the screwdriver and make your life a bit easier, which is a plus, because you have to end up manually magnetizing tips of traditional ones, which isn't a big deal, but this just has it built in. So really kind of a neat idea for a compact electrician's bit driver or a 1/4 inch hex bit screwdriver. I think it's pretty cool, and there's so many situations where you really, these big long ones are actually just too big and are a hassle. So anyway, just wanted to tell people about this, and like I usually do in my tool videos, try to find unique and tools, any kind of tools really. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody who's been watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Till next time, Catus Maximus out.